Welcome to Without Bias.
Apia, the go-to insurance for retirees. Call 135050. Get set, go.
Local legends want it. A bowls green is just up the road. Search Bowls Club near me.
Yes, indeed. Very good evening to you and welcome to Without Bias, our dedicated lawn bowl show, part of the Sporting Capital on SEM, where we dive into the wonderful world of lawn bowls. Big show this evening, and we're going to focus on our para-Jackaroos, who had a really successful Com Games. The Jackaroos had one of their best Commonwealth Games of all time, and we're going to focus on our para-Jackaroos this week, and looking forward to that. Silver medalist Serena Bonnell is going to join us. But all thanks to Bowls Australia, local legends wanted, search Bowls clubs near me, and for Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. It's an absolute pleasure to be joined straight off the top by one of our para-Jackaroos, vision impaired, at his second Com Games he's just returned from. Jake Fehlberg, hello, mate.
Hey, how's it going?
Very well, thanks. You've been back a month now from the Com Games. How have you settled back into life at home, coming down from what I'm sure is just one of the all-time great highs when you get to compete at that highest level?
Oh, it was a great experience. It's been a bit up and down after coming back. I mean, I basically went straight. I was home for 3 days and then went back to the next competition. So there was no real stopping for me. So it's just basically one event into the next.
Well, speaking of which, you've won 2 state championships since you've come back, so you haven't wasted any time from getting right back in amongst it. How did you find the transition back from the really slow UK, Birmingham, Northern Hemisphere greens to the much faster greens where you play?
Well, the state championships was based in Brisbane, and the greens were running, definitely at least 4 or 5 seconds quicker than what we'd been playing on over in Birmingham. So it took a fair adjustment. I felt I adjusted pretty quickly and straight away was putting pressure on my opponents. And, managed to get 2 good results for winning both events.
So that was your second Com Games, I mentioned, but your first overseas. What did you make of that experience? The first time you've been able to travel as part of the Australian Jackaroos, represent the country and do it at a Com Games. How does it sit with you now when you look back on it a month later? I
mean, it was still a great experience. Compared to Gold Coast, Gold Coast I had my family there, a lot more of my friends. We become a lot more reliant on the team and the Jackaroos family being there to support us, because I was living on the Gold Coast and just had such a base there. So it was very different, but it was still a great experience having them all beside us and supporting us, our teammates, and on and off the green.
Can you take us inside, I suppose, the culture that exists within the Jackaroos? We know how much preparation went into getting you guys UK ready, the trip over there beforehand, and then the Mount Tambourine greens that they manufactured or curated specifically to be slower, like the conditions you'd face over there. But just it seemed like the team itself was so tight-knit and so close, closely bonded. Talk to us about that part of the experience.
I think Bowls Australia put a lot of effort into making sure we did get along as a team, like as a group of people, and we did quite a few team bonding activities, and I felt like, as part of the open team, as much as just as a para bowler, like we're all accepted as one, and well, that last day, the emotion of everybody on the sidelines when the girls won the gold medal to Disco winning his gold medal, it was just ecstatic from everybody.
Now, you didn't get the result you're after, but that what you speak about there and the unabashed pride that everybody seemed to be taking in each other's performances. How keenly did you feel that? Whereas you weren't able to get your result, but how much joy did you get out of watching your teammates get their success?
Like I said, that last day was just absolutely awesome, seeing those 2 results. But even earlier in the week, the other medals that we won as a team, when I wasn't competing, I was there supporting the other athletes where I could. And, it was still a great experience. We were close in our events. All our games were within 3 shots of all the games we lost. So, we could have won all our games and come away with a medal ourselves, but it just wasn't quite to be.
So, as I mentioned, you guys didn't get what you were after in terms of medals, yourself and your playing partner Helen Boardman. What did you take away from the experience in Birmingham? What was the biggest learning you got, Jake?
After 2018, where I'd gone to one event and come away with a gold medal, I think looking back at it now, I know the results can go against you, even if you have a good game. I was still more than happy with my performance over there and how me and Helen performed as a team. But, it just makes me look back and maybe accept and celebrate when you do get the good performance and get the good result and, probably acknowledge that a bit more rather than sort of weigh down and, look back at, we didn't get anything. Probably, appreciate the good results more.
That's well put. Any athlete that I've ever had the pleasure of interviewing speaks to similar, I suppose, moments in their career where it re-energises them to go even further in their pursuit of that excellence. When it doesn't quite go according to plan, that's always the moment they look back on the next time that it does as being the inspiration for it. So it seems like you've locked into that straight away, Jake. We're speaking to Jake Fehlberg, para-Jackaroo, all thanks to Bowls Australia. Local legends wanted, search Bowls clubs near me, and brought to you by Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia and Without Bias, our dedicated lawn bowl show, part of the sporting capital on SEN. So, Jake, for those in the uninitiated who might be listening to you speak and go, okay, well, Jake Fehlberg, para-Jackaroo, vision impaired, how does he bowl if he's vision impaired? Explain for those who aren't aware of how it works.
So me personally, I use a monocular and I use that to sort of have some idea of what it looks like at the other end. But it's all relied basically on my director. So all vision impaired players in vision impaired competitions have a director. And so for 95% of my vision impaired bowls career, I've had my dad there as my director. And so we've gone through a lot of great performance and great results together. And so he gives me feedback on where my bowl's finished, what shot I should be playing, and just, encouragement while we're playing the game.
It's almost like a superpowered caddy in a way, isn't it? I mean, for a golfer, but the relationship that you need to have, the trust that you need to have, and you've got to trust that what they're seeing is right and what they're relaying to you, and then you just trust in that and then execute with the feel and with your routine that you've trained so diligently. It's a phenomenal relationship, and it is just extraordinary the way in which it works in tandem.
Yeah, no, there has to be a lot of effort, and that comes from both the player and the director to be sort of a bit lenient each way about what can help get the best result for the player. But you got to keep the director happy as well, otherwise it's not going to work.
So you had a new director, as you mentioned. So you had your dad for 95% of your career. Matthew Northcote steps in. You guys, I don't know, how well did you know Matthew before you partnered up for the Com Games in Birmingham? You seem to have a great relationship. How long had it been in existence for before you took to elite competition together?
See, that's a very interesting one. I met him the morning we flew out to England.
Wow.
So we basically met the morning of the flight to go over to England. Luckily, we had a 2-week staging camp. But for anybody that wants to get to know somebody, 24 hours of traveling to England is a pretty good time to get to know somebody.
Did you know straight away that you guys were gonna gel and click?
Yeah, I think Gary Willis had put a fair bit of thought about who he could get to work with me after my dad became unavailable.
Big shoes to fill.
And I think after our first few conversations, we'd had a few conversations beforehand, but that was the first time meeting in person. And we're still keeping in contact since then. Because as you said, it's a life-changing event, competing in the Commonwealth Games, and he was there beside me for the 2-week staging camp and the 2 weeks of the games, and he was there for every part of that.
It's a brilliant story, and thanks for taking us inside how it all works. Hey, Victoria 2026, it's going to be incredible to have the Commonwealth Games back in Australia and going all around regional Victoria. How motivated are you to make it to that next Games?
Oh, I'm pretty determined. I've seen the highs of success, and now I've seen some of the lows. So, I'm pretty determined to get back on that high and hopefully represent Australia in the next couple of events and get back in that team and get back in the spotlight.
Well, we're all rooting for you and we're all cheering for you to do exactly that, Jake. Good luck with it and what's to come over the next 4 years to get to that point. I'm sure there'll be a lot of success along the way. You've already won 2 state championships, as I've just said. Thanks for joining us on Without Bias, mate. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me.
Jake Fehlberg, a para-Jackaroo, just back from his second Com Games. It's all for Bowls Australia. Search Bowls clubs near me. And for AP, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. Serena Bonnell, who was a silver medalist in Birmingham, will be our next guest on Without Bias after this.
This is Without Bias.
Apia, the go-to insurance for retirees. Call 1350 50. Get set, go.
Local legends wanted. A bowls green is just up the road. Search Bowls Club near me.
Welcome back to Without Bias. It was great to have a chat to Jake Fehlberg a little early. If you missed that chat, you can find it at sen.com.au. Go to the Without Bias page and you'll find all our interviews and all our shows there. For Bowls Australia, local legends wanted, search Bowls clubs near me. And for APIA, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. Each and every Jackaroos chat that we do is thanks to Right at Home. They're the official naming rights partner of the Australian Jackaroos. And as we continue to focus on our para-Jackaroos this evening, Serena Bonnell, who won silver at the Birmingham Games, has been good enough to jump on the line with us. Serena, hello to you.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being with us. Congratulations on the silver medal at the Commonwealth Games. We've just been speaking to Jake about how collectively it was such a magnificent event for the Jackaroos, the camaraderie, the culture, the connection that everybody had. What a incredible thing to be a part of, but to have the success that you did, what does it mean to you a month on?
Look, undoubtedly, I think everyone would have been able to tell that I was a little bit upset that we lost our gold medal match, but upon reflection and coming home, it's a symbol of all the hard work and how it's paid dividends, and when opportunities are seized, they multiply. I was able to reflect, and the bowls community has helped me significantly reflect on the importance of achieving a silver medal and how much everyone invested in our success. And therefore, I think that any medal achieved is actually one in which we should share and have shared ownership with everyone in the bowls community and wider community, because everybody supported us. They sacrificed, whether they were our immediate family members or supporters, our bowling mates, everybody invested. And they've really helped me identify the importance of any medal of any colour.
Oh, that's fantastic. It is a great message, isn't it? And you wouldn't be the athlete that you were. You wouldn't be an elite competitor if you didn't have that initial reaction, I'm sure. But then to be able to find the place to sit comfortably with it and understand how significant it is, that speaks volumes, Serena, and it's a great message for any athlete, I would have thought as well. Your partnership with Cheryl Linfield, you guys competed together, women's para pairs. It put a smile on anyone's face that watched you guys go about your business, the joy that you seem to have playing together, the friendship. Talk to us about that and being able to stand there on a podium together.
Yeah, so post-selection, Cheryl and I got to spend quite a bit of time together, and particularly in the lead-up before we entered the village, we had a couple of weeks over in the UK together as a squad, and I got to spend quite a bit of time with Cheryl off the green, and we were able to develop a really nice friendship and become a great support network for each other. And I think that was portrayed in our performance and the support that we had for each other on the green. And I know how much standing on the podium meant to her. And so I was privileged to stand alongside her and be a part of that special moment. And yeah, it's just awesome.
So, as I mentioned before, for the Jackaroos, it's their most successful overseas Com Games, second most successful of all time. It's quite a significant achievement. And for you, being a part of that, what does that mean?
It means just as much to be a part of that as any individual success that we may have had. Our previous best result was a bronze and a silver over in that in a similar surface to what we saw at Leamington Spa. So for us to walk away and Elsie started a bit of a gold rush for us. But for us to walk away with entering the finals of 7 out of 11 disciplines, Jakey and Helen just missing out in their bronze medal match, but to even walk away with the opportunity to medal in 7 disciplines on a UK surface, we weren't born and bred on it. It's just amazing, and it goes to speak to the pivotal rollout and high standard that our high performance program is actually setting worldwide.
It's a lot different playing overseas as opposed to playing in Australia, where you've always got the home crowd on your side. What was that like being on tour outside Australia? Oftentimes in your games, the crowd that were there seemed to be supporting your opposition. It must be a different feeling. Did you revel in that? Did it take you a while to adjust to it? How was that experience for you?
Well, I've only obviously been on the other side of the coin, and I was there at Gold Coast supporting everybody and cheering as loud as I could cheer. As a player over there, I can't say I focused too much on the crowd. I can't say I actually was aware of how loudly the crowd was cheering for my opposition. And if anything, I would have revelled in the idea of silencing them. But the Australians and the Jackaroos squad, they ensured that their voices resounded across the green.
Yeah.
And we echoed each other really well. It didn't matter if you were 3 rinks over. If you heard one of us call good bowl to someone in the squad, you could hear somebody else in the squad echo it, and another person echo it, and another person echo it. It didn't matter whether or not you saw the bowl, but the fact that we were echoing each other's good calls or praises meant that we felt each other's support constantly.
I love that. Absolutely love it. That camaraderie that you mentioned, I was speaking to Jake about it earlier. How do you put a finger on where that started? Who's responsible for that? Is it a collective thing, or was there someone who really initiated that we want to try and build what has been described as a family-like environment within this team? And a lot of sports are a team within an overall Australian team that goes over to compete at a Com Games or an Olympic Games, regardless of the sport. Can you take us inside who is the initiator of that, how that came together?
Look, I'm not entirely certain, but I would say that a fish rots from the head down, and the same can be said for any positive culture in a team. The positivity and the support comes from the head down, and that comes from the high-performance staff, but also from the leadership group. One of the most emotive examples that I would have of that was actually when I actually even get emotional talking about it. I don't think I've expressed it to anybody. The time in which I was playing with Cheryl Linfield and we were about to face New Zealand, our Open girls had a very rough defeat, and we were the last game in the schedule on that day. Our Open girls could have gone back to the village. They were obviously very upset. Just as I'm about to start my game, I look up and I see Lenny, who's my pathways coach, sitting in the stands cheering me on. Very quickly followed the rest of the squad, and the entire Jackaroos were there supporting me and Cheryl, cheering our names. I know that wasn't a terribly comfortable thing for the Open girls to do in particular, but they knew that that the culture, as I just said, starts from the top, and they wanted to exemplify the Jackaroos 24/7 culture, regardless of any emotion that they may have been feeling. So seeing them there actually was one of the highlights of my entire tour.
Oh, Serena, that is absolutely beautiful. Thank you for taking us inside that. That is incredibly special. And to know that it still means the same to you now as it did then, I think shows just how deep that connection was. And that is, again, it's another great lesson for so many people that the thing about being a part of a team is it is greater than you yourself. And those teams within a team are one thing, but the overall team is at the heart of that. And sometimes you have to put your emotion aside to go and support your other team member. So it's such a great example that you guys were able to set. and I want to thank you so much for taking us inside that, for sharing it with us. Just on a more lighter note, how cool is it to say that you played in front of royalty? Your gold medal match, Prince Edward, in the crowd, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. I had no idea he was there till after the game. I wish I'd put down better bowls for him. Now, upon reflection, I couldn't have tried harder, but I wish I had to put down some decent bowls for him. But it's cool, and it goes to show that our sport is growing. And if we can have Prince Edward in the stands, then anything really can happen.
Absolutely. Hey, Serena, Victoria 2026 next from a Common Games point of view, and then I'm sure heaps of success coming your way between now and then. Good luck with all of it, and thanks so much for being with us on Without Bias tonight.
Much appreciated.
Serena Bonnell, silver medalist at the recent Birmingham Comm Games, and that is all for Right at Home. The right care, right at home. That's it from us on Without Bias for another week. Same time, same place. In fact, not same time, same place. Back in the regular time slot of Tuesday night next week. So tune in then at 9:30 and you will not miss Without Bias. And if you did miss anything tonight, sen.com.au to hear it in full on the podcast page, the Without Bias podcast page. For Bowls Australia, local legends, Wanted Bowls Green is just up the road. Search Bowls Clubs near me. And for AP, the go-to insurance for retirees, 135050. Get set, go. Until then, find your local Bowls Club and go and have a roll. Cheers.
Not all heroes are bitten by radioactive spiders. Our heroes are made at Kangan Institute. Call 13TAFE or visit kangan.edu.au. Eligibility criteria applies. Some or all of this training is delivered with Victorian and Commonwealth Government funding. RTO 3077.